Hello, everybody. So today we have a snow day, and I know for my second and first hours, I didn't get to see you yesterday, so this assignment's probably causing you a lot of anxiety. I do plan for everybody. I'm going to move the due date to tomorrow, so you have more time, and everybody will see me on Wednesday, so that you can get questions answered. But I know that some people in my second and first hours might be anxious about this or want to go ahead and get it done. So I'm just going to go over what I went over in class on Tuesday for the half the day I was there. So this is your MLA task. This is your assignment sheet. So if we go in here, it's explaining an annotated bibliography. Now, I want you to think about what annotated means. If I ask you to annotate an article, what does that mean? It basically means that you're going to take notes. So that's what annotated means. And then a bibliography is a fancy word for a works cited. Now, if you remember, a works cited has this at the top, these kind of citations listed out. So a works cited is just these citations. An annotated works cited has this note that goes with it. It's an annotation, it's a note. So an annotated bibliography is just a works cited with some notes on it. And that's what we're doing today. We're not writing an essay. I have seen some of your work and you're trying to write an essay that answers this research question. That's not what we're doing. You are making just the works cited, so just this with your citation, and then a note about that source to help people who might potentially read your work and need assistance. So, first things first, I'm going to walk you through it. I'll do the first one for you. What we need is we've got this research question about puppies. I have found sources about puppies for you. That's why I offer this research question. So these are going to be our sources, these three sources here. And the instructions say to create an annotated bibliography of at least three sources that could be used to answer this research question. So for each source, we need an MLA correct citation. We're going to write a simple summary. We learned that on Monday last week. And in your summary, you need to include a quote or paraphrase that you could use to answer the research question. Make sure you have that in-text citation. So, first things first, make sure the document is set up. So you'll see I've got 12-point font Times New Roman, double space, a header, a heading with your class name, teacher name, date, etc. I'll explain the difference between a header and a heading in just a second. Works cited as your title, alphabetized citations, and a hanging indent. So let's talk setting up your document first. Here's my example. Now, first off, there's a difference between a header and a heading. One common mistake kids make is I click up here. You see how this says header? What's going on is this top section is what Google Docs calls a header. However, if I can close this whole section down here, this is what we call a heading. So this is a header, this is a heading. What this means is that this red zone, this repeats between pages. So if I put another page into this document, there would be another page header that looks exactly like what was in the top section. But you'll notice the heading does not continue down. That's how you know you've done this right or wrong. So to set up your header, the best way to do it, because it needs to be a page number with your last name, you click Insert. I got to get my little drawings out of the way. One sec. Rectangle, just clear the screen. All right. So what you're going to do is you're going to click Insert, and then you want to go down to Page Numbers, and it's this one right here. When you click that, it will give you a page number that changes between the different pages. You're not done though. You need to put your last name up there so that it looks like this. Then when you go down here, it'll be last name and 2. Then you click out of it. So this is the header. This is the header box. Click out of it. And the heading starts with your name. So your first and last name. Next is your teacher, then your class, then the date, but it's all funky. Now, the other thing you have to do at this point, I normally type all this out first. Then you have to be in Times New Roman, and your font size has to be 12. You also are going to need to double space everything. Now, to double space, it's this icon with the up and down arrows and the lines. You click on it, and you just want to check double. So highlight everything and make sure that's done. So notice we've done a lot already. We have a 12-point double space, 12-point font with Times New Roman. It's double spaced. I have a header with the page number and a heading with all my information. Now I need to make Works Cited my title. Thing about titles, you just center it. All you do is center it. That's it. Do not bold it. Do not italics it. Do not underline it. Do not change the font size. Do not change the font. All you do is put it as the title. Now, because you are making a citation, if you remember, we have hanging indents as a thing, which means there's this weird space underneath. It's like reverse indenting. This is called a hanging indent, where you have this kind of box here. So the way to make sure that that gets done is you could either highlight everything when you're done, or you can just put your cursor down here before you start typing. But in order to get this, the easiest thing to do is remember it's called a hanging indent. Then you can go Format, Align and Indent, Indentation Options. Click this and it opens up this option. The reason I want you to know this is called the hanging indent is because hanging is one of the special indents available to you on Google Docs. So if you select that and click Apply, it will do it for you. So you know you've done it correctly if you have this weird space here. So I've done that. Now, this alphabetized citations, this is kind of up to you. I'm not going to do the whole project for you, but if you look at this example, we've got L-A, L-O, Z-A. You alphabetize these little entries. So let me zoom out so I can show you this. What you're going to do is look at those entries. So this is one entry. This is a second entry. And this is a third entry. So each of these needs to be organized in alphabetical order. So L-A right here, that means it goes before L-O alphabetically. And then Z is obviously after L in the alphabet. So that's what we mean by alphabetizing your citations. Just make sure you get that done at the very end. So I'm going to say I've already done that. All right, so you've done all these things. Now we're going to do the scary part. You, as a part of this project, are being asked to do three things. You need a citation, you need a simple summary, and that summary needs to include a quote or paraphrase from the source. So finally, let's get to the hard part together. What you're going to do is you're going to go down and you're going to select your source. This is my source. 5 steps to correct inappropriate dog chewing, August 26th, 2020. You scroll down here, you'll notice that Dr. Christy Kahn is our author here. And if you need to know the website, so Caesar's Way is the title of the website. And this whole thing is the URL. So let's go ahead and make this works cited entry. You'll notice first we've got Con, comma, Dr. Christie, period. That's our author. The next step is the title of the website. Notice that this is in quotes with a period in it. Next, you have your container, which is the whole website title. So this is the article title. This is the website title. Caesar's Way with a comma. Then you have your funny looking date for when it was written, which means you do not need to have a date accessed for this one because we found a date. Then you're going to copy and paste your entire URL with a period. That is your citation. One thing that often people panic about at this point is that the hanging indent isn't working. One common issue I see is if you are working and you have a long URL, what can happen is if you accidentally make the, come on, I wonder if it'll even do it for me. If you accidentally have it like this, where the URL is over here, what that means is secretly your computer thinks that this is a different paragraph. So what you want to do is just put your cursor next to the H, press backspace a couple of times until it knows that the H is actually snuggled up next to this period, and then you'll be fine. So now we've got a citation. That is number 1. Now I'm going to write a simple summary. If you remember, a simple summary includes your who, what, where, when, why, and how. So all of this text here, notice it's snuggled right up to the citation, is answering those questions about the paragraph. And you have about 30 words to do it. I'm not going to be super strict about that, but about 30 words. So my who, young puppies, oh, there's a C missing, chew things all around the house. So there's my who, what they're doing, and where. Now, according to Dr. Kahn, they do this why? Because their gums are irritated during this time and the act of chewing relieves the discomfort. So then my who, what, when, where, why, how can we stop them? There are 5 ways to stop puppies from chewing, including checking to make sure their medical needs are in order, puppy-proofing your house, and encouraging good chewing, discouraging bad chewing, and more playtime. You would get all of this information, but guess what? You got to read the thing. You don't have to read it too much in depth. All of these are pretty simple sources. You can see the 5 things that I listed here. But what you want to do is write your simple summary answering that who, what, when, where, why, how. Then you need to include a quote or paraphrase inside that summary. So if I go over here, you'll notice I have my according to Dr. Kahn. They chew this because their gums are very irritated during this time, and the act of chewing relieves their discomfort. That is a quote, which I would need a comma there. And you must have your in-text citation if you're going to use a quote. So this is one entry. If your entry for the first one looks exactly like mine, you're solid. You can make your own summary. Everyone should have their own summary, but this part must look exactly the same in order to get full credit. So I will leave this document here. Notice that you have 3 sources though. So your job now is to go through this process for this source here and this source here. So how to prevent puppy chewing problems and how can I stop my dog from chewing? Again, they're both pretty simple. In the end, you should have a document. That was not what I meant to do. You should have a document that looks like this. Again, where you've got 3 of these entries. Notice how they're all snuggled up to each other. And I also want you to notice that when you see these little stick outs, there should be 3 little sticky outy bits. And that's what you alphabetize by. So I hope this was helpful. Again, I will see you guys tomorrow after the snow day to clarify any more questions. But I know some people were having anxiety about this, so I just wanted to help you out. Have a great snow day, y'all.